This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honey Bee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go and 31 Days of Horror. Mars needs movies. That's right, this year we are doing movies about alien invasions, incursions, infiltrations, and visitations. And today's movie is War of the Worlds Goliath. And here to talk with me about it is my good friend, Racheal McKinney. Welcome back to the show, Racheal.
Hi, I'm glad to be back.
So, War of the Worlds Goliath is a animated movie from 2012. It's kind of anime, but technically it's Malaysian, not Japanese, so I don't know if that still counts. Let's see. It's 82 minutes. The box office was 280,000 RMs, which is a Malaysian ringgit. It doesn't say what the budget was, though. And there was a novelization published afterwards. So, let's take a look at the cast quickly, and then we'll get into it. Adam Baldwin is Wilson, Bo Billingsley is Abraham Douglas, Kim Buckingham is Talbot, Jim Burns as Theodore Roosevelt, Joey Daoria as Nikola Tesla, Kenny Dowell as Robert Wells, Lieutenant Hendricks, Leviathan Bridge Officer, he's doing triple duty there, Tony Esoff as Lieutenant Raja Iskandar Shah, Elizabeth Grayson as Lieutenant Jennifer Carter, Alexander Henderson as young Eric Wells, Amelia Henderson as young girl. I'm going to guess that they're related. Susan Lancaster as Christine Wells, Matt Letcher as Captain Manfred von Richthofen. That's Friar von Richthofen to you peasants. Robert Middleton as General Sergei Kushnerov. Christina Oro as Leviathan Ensign, Adrian Paul as Patrick O'Brien, Jay Shelton as Austrian officer, wounded scout pilot, and additional voices. Mark Shepard as Sean O'Brien, Mike Swift as Ares General, James Arnold Taylor as German soldiers and Russian soldiers, Peter Wingfield as Captain Eric Wells, Gavin Yap as helmsman, and Brian Zimmerman as British officer in Green Man Pub. There are two people from the Highlander franchise in this movie. Elizabeth Grayson and Adrian Paul were on the Highlander TV show. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if somebody was a fan. So, Racheal, what did you think of War of the Worlds Goliath?
Well, I think that as far as characterizations, it was kind of a caricature of what you would think other nations would be like, all crammed into one person.
Sure. Yes, everybody's representing their whole country in this.
Yeah.
I noticed it was made by Tripod Entertainment, which makes me wonder if this company existed just to make this movie. You see that sometimes where the name of the company is very specific to the project. I don't know if they ever did anything else. And one of the executive producers was Kevin Eastman, one of the co-creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know what he actually did on this. So it's a sequel. Excuse me. It's a sequel to War of the Worlds. It starts off kind of at the end of War of the Worlds. We got a young Bruce Wayne watching his parents get murdered. And then just before he gets killed by a tripod, it gets sick and dies, like at the end of the novel. And then we jump from 1899 to 1914 in New York, where everything is kind of diesel punk now.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the design of all the stuff?
Well, I think it was pretty cool, especially the statues. Like the Statue of Liberty was holding a sword instead of a torch, and then there was another statue of this woman holding some kind of machine gun, Tommy gun kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure what she represented, but she gets messed up at some point. And the Red Baron is flying around. That's who Manfred Freiherr von Richthofen is, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, he's the Red Baron, who apparently is already famous, even though World War I hasn't started yet. And he's just flying around New York for some reason. I also wondered if Lieutenant Carter was named after John Carter of Mars, because we're doing Mars stuff here. Seems like that was probably the case. There's also a character named Eric Wells, because in a lot of these things, they put in a character named after H.G. Wells. I don't know why. I think it's partly because in the original novel, the narrator is not named. It's from the first person, but he never says what his name is. So people will just decide that it's H.G. Wells himself. So you'll get a character named Herbert or George or Lieutenant Wells or whatever. And everybody's doing a lot of training for international war, there's a lot of international cooperation going on. I guess they assume the Martians are going to come back, which of course they do. And they've been training in these Goliaths, or one of them's called Goliath. They got their own little tripods that they've made now that are quite a bit different from the Martian ones, really. But there's this thing called Ares. Do you remember what it stood for? Here we go. Allied Resistance Earth Squadrons. So everybody's training in sort of reverse engineered Martian technology as part of this Ares thing. One of the guys has a brother in the IRA, although I looked it up and the IRA didn't start until 1917 and we're in 1914.
Well, this is an alternate reality.
That's true. I guess they got started early. The Martians kick-started the IRA into forming a couple years early. There's also Germans starting shit in the bar, surprising nobody. And we try to start World War I because Archduke Franz Ferdinand gets assassinated, but then a guy gives a speech and everybody says, no, we're not going to go back home to our own countries and start a war. We're going to stay here and be part of this group. So, and before World War I can really get going at all anyway, the Martians show up. So I'm not sure why that plot point was even there, since the Martians kind of short-circuited that.
Yeah, I think that whole scene where Patrick O'Brien going to give equipment and weapons to his brother, that was kind of unnecessary, and then they didn't really follow up with that. Besides, the brother that's in Ares is like, you know what? I think that the Martian invasion supersedes us trying to get independence from England.
Yeah. We'll deal with that later. It seems like those guys should have come back later, though. Like they should have had to go to them for help or something. That was a dangling plot point. It should have had them joining up in the fight, or a British guy specifically asking them for help, and appealing to their common humanity or something. But it didn't happen. I also wrote Earth tripods suck, and Martians have fighter saucers now when they come back. They still have tripods, but they also have little flying saucer fighters to fight with the Red Baron, I guess.
Yeah, during the war game scene, the tripods they had, I'm like, they wiped out most of them. Like, how did they have any left over to fight in the big battle?
Yeah. And they keep trying to use machine guns against these tripods. I don't know why they even bother with them. There's some scenes where they're firing cannons and stuff, but they're also firing their machine guns. I mean, I guess you see that in kaiju movies all the time, where even though the tanks aren't doing any good, there's a bunch of soldiers there just with their personal guns shooting as well. Like, maybe just this one extra bullet will help, and it never does.
Well, it's better than doing nothing, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it makes you feel like you're doing something even though you're not.
I also like, so I know that this is a Malaysian made film, and they've got a character, Lieutenant Raja Iskandar Shah,
Mhm.
and he's the chillest guy in Aries, and he's also the most helpful in that scene in Albuquerque too. So that was a nice plug-in.
Was he meant to be Malaysian?
I think so. It says Malayan. Is that different
Oh,
from
okay. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's probably the right form. I guess I thought he was Indian, but that makes sense. That makes sense that they would have him be the most reasonable person in the movie. So, I wrote down there is a lot of fighting in this movie. So much fighting. And then I wrote, well, it's not called Tea Party of the Worlds.
Well, I love that the vaporization scenes were so graphic because I wasn't expecting that. Because, it opens up and it's just like a moving picture thing. And then when the dad gets
Mhm.
vaporized, you see his flesh leave, and then there's his eyeballs, and then
Yeah.
there's his skull. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I feel like most of the animation budget went to like the vaporizing scenes.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Well, sometimes in these things, that everybody just kind of glows green and disappears. But sometimes, they get very detailed about it. And this was one of those times. I mean, I've seen some anime that gets pretty graphic. So I guess this was one of them.
And then speaking of graphic and extreme, there was that one guy when they went to that plant, that local militia, I think his name was Wilson, and
Mhm.
he just carried around his dead wife's finger in a bag
Yes.
around his neck.
Yeah. And doesn't he end up dying later? And he holds his wife's finger. He's like, I'm coming. I'm coming for you, honey.
Yeah.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. I don't think she was Elizabeth. That was Sanford. George Sanford always would. When he got upset, he would clutch his heart like he was having a heart attack and go, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Yet another reference I don't know.
Yeah, it's from Sanford and Son.
Oh.
That was his thing. Like, I'm about to die and come to meet my dead wife because my son's upset me so much that he would go, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
And whoever wrote this must have been a big Teddy Roosevelt fan, because in this setting, he's the Secretary of War and he's jacked.
Yeah.
Like, his hands are about as big as his head is.
Yeah, yes. Well, Teddy was a little more robust than Franklin. Teddy was a man of action, but they certainly beefed him up. Very, very broad shoulders. He's huge. Yeah, he's got my favorite line in here. He tells them to die well.
That was a good line.
And they did work in a couple of bullies in there. He was known for saying that. Bully.
Oh, I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah, it just means good, basically. Sometimes they talk about the president having the bully pulpit, meaning that, whatever the president says kind of gets magnified because he has the bully pulpit. And that doesn't mean a pulpit to bully people with. It means the good pulpit. It comes from Roosevelt. So there you go.
Oh, gotcha.
The more you know.
I learned a lot about history just from looking up this. Like, after I watched the movie, I looked up some stuff. Like, I didn't know that German pilot was actually based on the real Red Baron. Like, it was his name,
Okay.
too.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, he's got the red triplane, which was his thing. Yeah, I saw a movie once about it had the Red Baron. It was a World War One, airplane movie, and they had all the German pilots flying red planes like that, and that's not how it was. He was known as the Red Baron because his plane specifically was painted red, and his squadron was the Flying Circus because they all painted their planes in crazy colors and designs, but they were individualized. These days you can't just paint your plane whatever color you want if you're in the military.
Well, I'm glad that this spin-off animated science fiction movie was more historically accurate.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think one reason they did that in the movie was just for the audience's sake to make it easy to distinguish the German planes from the English planes, just visually. Whereas if every plane was different, you might lose track of who was who. So I understand why they did it, but it's not historically accurate.
And another unnecessary scene, like, this movie's maybe an hour and 28 minutes long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, like, there's not enough time to have any kind of like emotional investment in any of the characters. And I know at the end, I know we're kind of skipping around, but General Kushnerov, the Russian guy who lost his family, he looks at his little portrait he has in his little locket. And then I guess some buildings crash, and the guy steering the ship is about to fall over, and he hangs on to him. And then the guy's like, "I love you, father," and let's go.
That's the first time we're hearing that he's his son.
Yeah, I'm like, what? We didn't even know until that end. I'm like, well, what
Yeah.
was the point of that?
Yeah, Kushnerov, he's rides around in a big old blimp through a fair amount of the movie. And yeah, he just seems pretty harsh and stern, and they try to humanize him for one moment by having him open up his locket and, have his son die in his arms.
And
I'm
then
not
he
sure if I
dies.
even noticed that. I don't know if I even noticed that part, that the guy was his son. That's how fast it went by.
Yeah, it was, because it was like the climax of the whole thing, because for some reason the big mothership was right outside of New York City under the water, and it comes up. So I was more invested to see if which one would win, but then of course they both collide and get destroyed.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
General Kirsnerov also dies along with everybody else on the Leviathan.
Yes. Yeah, they hid their big ship for most of the movie. They didn't bring out their big guns until the end there, and then just smashed it into another big thing.
So were the aliens that were in the tripods and in the ship, were those accurate to like the original War of the Worlds novel by H.G. Wells?
Pretty much. I think they're described kind of vaguely in the novel. They do say that they're gray, and I'm trying to think how else they describe them. They're gray, and they look kind of like a bear. I'm trying to see if I can find a description. But yeah, we don't get too many good looks at the Martians in the book, but they are just kind of big, lumpy gray things. So I think it was as good of a version as any I've seen.
And I think in the original novel they have with H.G. Wells, I think that he had this overall theme after looking with like society and the breakdown of it, and also being kinder to animals, because he kind of compared how it felt like to be a human under the thumb of the Martians.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking with this movie, Goliath, maybe the theme was we all need to work together, because if they all engaged in World War One, then there would have went the whole world.
Let's see. The Martians are described as octopus-like creatures, the body consisting of a disembodied head nearly 4 feet across, having 2 eyes, a V-shaped beak-like mouth, and 2 branches each of 8 almost whip-like tentacles grouped around the mouth, referred to as the hands. So, there you go. I think that's kind of what they look like in this movie.
Yeah, they're mostly head and tentacles and not really a lot of body.
And I think that's why the tripods have tentacles, is because the Martians themselves have tentacles, so they kind of built them to resemble themselves. I know a lot of movies present the Martian, because they drive tripods, they present the Martians as having 3 fingers or 3 legs or an eye that's in 3 parts. They really focus in on the 3 aspect of it. So, well, Racheal, what did you think in general of this movie? Do you have positive thoughts, negative thoughts?
Well, it was entertaining. I think the themes were kind of overdone and pretty basic, but it just felt like watching a really long Saturday morning cartoon that was a little more graphic.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure who this was for. I guess just fans of anime in general. It doesn't really seem like a children's cartoon, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just for people who like War of the Worlds shit.
Well, it makes me want to not watch, but read War of the Worlds, because I'm also going to London tomorrow, so I thought it would be fitting since H.G. Wells is from Great Britain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good book. If you've never read it before, you should go ahead and read it, and then you'll have some perspective for all these movies we're doing. And maybe you can go on eBay and find the novelization of this.
Pass.
Well, how many, we're going to use a 1 to 5 flying saucer scale this year, I think so. How many flying saucers are you going to rate War of the Worlds Goliath?
Maybe 2.5.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to give it 3. It was okay. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was okay. Just right down the middle. I found it on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. I don't think it's streaming officially anywhere, but the one that was on YouTube was perfectly fine quality. So go there before somebody notices and takes it down. Because, yeah, I don't think it was an official copy that was up there.
I don't think it gets enough traffic to get noticed.
Yeah. I mean, one of my videos got a copyright strike just for having a still. It just had a still image of the thing that was being discussed, but it was on the screen throughout the video. And somebody decided that was, I feel like it was a bot, a lawyer bot. I feel like if a person had actually looked at it at all, they would have realized that it was fair use. But I couldn't get anybody to look at it, so YouTube took that video down, and I have a copyright strike.
Oh.
If I get 3, my channel gets deleted. But
really?
Yep. I think after 90 days though, it goes away, so I start over again at 1. I think that's how it works. But yeah,
wow, that's really strict.
It's just a thumbnail that YouTube itself converted into. This is the image that's going to show throughout the entire video. But yeah, it sucks. Well, there you go, folks. That's War of the Worlds Goliath. Racheal, thanks for being with me again this year. Have fun in
thanks.
London.
Oh, thank you.
Have fun in Japan.
Yeah.
After London. Rachel's my little globe-trotting friend. She's all over the place.
Haha.
We'll be back tomorrow with another in the series of Invaders from Space of Mars Needs Movies. If you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe and rate and review us wherever you're listening. But until next time, I have been Precious D. My guest has been Racheal McKinney. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.